and this is quite shocking, especially when mothers hear this, but before 1985, infants generally, most of the time, did not get a general anaesthetic when they went under the knife for surgery. So I was literally awake undergoing surgery, and I'm 48 years of age now, Marina, and I've done a lot of trauma work. I've done a lot of work on myself. But even up until 5 years ago, I couldn't put my hand on my heart. I was terrified of my own inner body from that experience. And I had to do a lot of work just to befriend my body. Even when I talk about the story, I feel a little bit of an urge to rub the scar on my belly. Like the body keeps the score, as they say, you know. And that operation, complications from that surgery, set the tone for me to be a very worrisome, afraid of my own inner body, anxious, hence child. Then my mum and dad were alcoholics, and compounding the initial trauma, I was hyper vigilant, hyper aware of everything. I knew my dad was a drink driver from early doors. I knew it was dangerous. I knew my mum was in the car. I always feared they'd never come home from the pub. And it just became this chronic anxiety, which turned into panic attacks. And then I found drugs, and I often say the doctors never gave me the anesthetic I needed as a baby. I was 14, I found drugs. When I was 16, I found an anesthetic called heroin, and that was me. That was me. It had me hooked from that very first moment.
Wow. And the moment you talked about the operation, I was like, I wonder what your environment was like, because,
Mm,
if it's traumatic no matter what, but if you would have
yeah.
had an environment that was like loving and supportive and kind, I feel like it would be really different.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because my mum and dad, like, they're so loving and they're brilliant. They really are. But their alcoholism, sort of, they didn't have the toolbox, the playbook. Nobody does for parenting, but they couldn't regulate their own emotions. That's why they were in addiction. They didn't know about bonding, and we're not an affectionate family. I'd be an affectionate person, but me brothers, sisters, mum and dad, we love each other clearly, but we don't hug each other. It's not what we do. It's not what we did. And then I was in an incubator for a couple of weeks, and then I was complications. I was in and out of hospital. So I was separated. There was no bond between me and any other human beings, really. So I'd say that played a role as well. And then my mum and dad would have been drinking as well. So all of these things, just perfect storm nearly.
Compounded, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What is your relationship like with your family now?
Absolutely amazing. It's incredible. It really is. Like I often say, like I used to make me mom cry. I make her laugh today. I like to think like every Sunday I'd meet my mom for a walk in the park.